Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 44 of Was I in the Wrong? Here on the Misty Morrison podcast, I love to judge, I love to give advice, I love all the petty drama. Well, before we get into our stories for the day, our usual housekeeping, whether you are new or returning, please remember to engage with the content to help the channel grow. Whether you are watching on YouTube, listening on podcast, or watching shorts or reels on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you like to enjoy your content, please rate, review, like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and comment with your thoughts on the stories. All right, into our stories for the day. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/AITA_WIBTA_public. AITA for refusing to host my sister's gender reveal at my house after she called mine too small. I have a modest 2-bedroom home that I'm pretty proud of. My sister, 28 female, is pregnant and wanted to have a gender reveal. She asked if she could host it at my place since our parents' house is being renovated. I said sure, as long as she helped with cleanup and decorations. 2 days later, she called to say she changed her mind because she didn't want guests to feel cramped in my tiny house. She ended up booking a park pavilion instead. Fine. But then last week, the forecast showed rain, and she called asking if she could revert to using my place. I said no. I told her I felt used. She only wanted my home when hers or the park weren't convenient. She got mad, said I was being petty and ruining her special day. Now my mom's guilt-tripping me, saying it's just one afternoon. So, AITA for standing my ground. No. Because once you don't stand your ground, once you give in, she knows that she can walk all over you. She knows that she can cry about it, and mommy's going to guilt you, and you're going to change your mind just so you don't have to listen to it. In the long run, it is not worth it because you'll have to listen to it more often if you give in now. No. You are right. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/AITA_relationships. AITA for making my partner a home-cooked meal. Suggested something for dinner, pasta with spinach and chicken with lemon and garlic. Told him exactly what it was and what is in it. He said, sure. Wasn't really bothered. I spent ages making it from scratch. He sat on his phone, didn't offer to help or ask how it's going. When it was finished, he didn't say thank you. We sat down to eat. He said he didn't like it. He doesn't get lemon pasta. I said, it's a common dish. I've had it before. I said, I'm sorry he doesn't like it. I know he can't help not liking it. He was in such a mood, pushing his plate away, saying he doesn't know what he can eat now. I suggested what we had in the flat, soup, both tinned and some that I made from scratch, as well as soup, chips, or suggested a takeaway. But he didn't want any of these. He walked out the flat and said he's going to get something else. I'm sorry he doesn't like it, but why am I made to feel like the bad one here? I spent ages making a home-cooked meal and he's in a mood with me. Also, if this was flipped, I'd have just eaten it to be polite, and later told him it wasn't quite for me / suggest a tweak for next time. We've been together for over a year, but friends for 10 plus. AITA or is he? He is the asshole. You are right. He completely took his mood out on you. He requested or suggested this very specific dish. If he didn't know that he already liked it, why would he ask you to make it from scratch? If he just doesn't get lemon pasta, why'd you ask for lemon pasta? Why? Oh, that's the first aggravating thing. He asked for. Why wouldn't you try it somewhere first before having you go through the trouble of making it? Okay, so you make it. He says he doesn't like it. Okay, that's fine. And I also, as long as I could stomach it, I would have eaten it to be polite. Yes. I can't blame someone for not doing that. Some people have weak stomachs. Some people just really can't bring themselves to do that. And that's fine. But the way he acted about it, like pushing the plate away, saying, oh, I don't know what I can eat now. That's his problem to figure out. He requested something. You made it. He doesn't like it. He's on his own. He is on his own for dinner. He can go get his damn takeaway. But just to get up and just walk out saying you're going to get something else when you even suggested a takeaway, and he's like, I'm just leaving. What? This is weird behavior. This is insane behavior. Oh, yeah. I don't know where that came from. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/am I the jerk. AITJ for not using my college fund to pay for my sister's husband's surgery. I, 18 female, lost my dad a year ago. It's been really hard. My mom hasn't been in the picture, so it was just us. He left me and my older sister, 27, some money. My sister used her share right away on new cars and redoing her house. I've been staying with my aunt because my sister's husband made it clear I wasn't welcome with them. I'm saving my share for college. I've always wanted to be a doctor, and this money is my only shot at making that happen without being drowning in debt. My sister and I weren't super close before, but we really drifted after she married her husband. He's been chronically ill for a while, and my sister always uses that as an excuse for his behavior. He'd make nasty comments about my dad and even caused a scene at his funeral. I had to distance myself from my own mental health. Lately, my sister has been visiting a lot to vent. Her husband's heart is getting worse and he needs surgery they can't afford. She started hinting heavily about my money, and I always change the subject. Well, yesterday she straight up asked me to pay for the surgery. She promised she'd pay me back in a year. I feel sick about it. That money is my future. If I give it to her, there's no way she can pay back that much in a year. I'd have to give up on med school. I told her I couldn't do it. She completely broke down in my aunt's house. She called me heartless and selfish. She said I'm choosing an education over a man's life and asked if I wanted my nephew to grow up without a dad. My aunt is staying out of it, but said this will probably ruin our relationship forever. Now she's blowing up my phone with pictures of her family saying, "This is what you're saying no to." I've been crying nonstop. I feel like a monster. But my friend pointed out they could sell their fancy cars and renovations instead of asking me. He says if I give them the money, I'll never see it again. I'm so torn. Am I the jerk? Nope. Hard no, immediately no. You are right. You know the amount of money, but you said there's no way she could pay it back in a year, and I'm with your friend that she will probably never pay it back. Whenever she got this lump sum of money from your dad's estate, she immediately spent it on cars and renovations. She's not going to pay back your money. Don't give it to her. I'm really glad that your aunt is actually staying out of it because a lot of the times all the family gets involved and they pick sides and they're like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm so proud of your aunt for just staying out of it. She said her piece. She said, your decision is yours, but this will probably ruin your relationship. Regardless of what you choose, this will ruin your relationship. Because if you choose to give her the money and she doesn't pay you back, then you're hurt. If you don't give her the money, then she's hurt. But also, you are not her only option. When it comes to life-saving medical care, there are other ways. Lots of hospitals have, hospitals, clinics, wherever this would happen at. Lots of medical institutions have grant funding. They have programs that help with this kind of thing. A lot of hospitals, they cannot turn you away because of money. And if you don't have it, you get a bill for it. And then you have to come up with a payment plan to pay that back. Beyond that, there's a conventional loan. There is refinancing the house. There's a second mortgage. While who said your friend is wrong, they cannot sell their renovations. The renovations are done, but they can take out the home equity loan. But your friend is right. They can sell their fancy cars. I don't know how much money you have, but if they are really fancy cars, then she probably can sell them, buy a single cheaper vehicle if they need to, sell the fancy cars, pay them off, buy two really cheap but reliable vehicles, and use the rest of the money for the surgery. If that's still not enough, refinance the house. Like, if that's all you have, If her husband dies because you won't give your money, it is not your fault. They had other options. She just chose not to evaluate those other options. She wants your money because it is the easy option. No. If her husband dies because they do not explore other avenues to get the money to save his life, that is on them. That is a choice that they made. Don't let her guilt you. Honestly, I think your relationship's already ruined. I would just block her. It's already the moment she asked, it was done. So you are right. Story number 4. AITA for holding on to hurt after the loss of our son. Warning: loss of a child, trauma, and grief. Sorry, it's a long story. This is a real life story, and the names have been changed to protect the people. My husband, Stephen, male 63 now, and I, Anne, female 61 now, had a second son, Mike, 33 years ago. Our oldest son, Adam, who is currently 35, was very attached to his little brother. He would play with his trucks on his bassinet and peekaboo over my shoulders. One day, while they were with their babysitter, Mike stopped breathing. The babysitter was a certified assistant nurse who started doing CPR, while her teenage daughter called 911. The ambulance and police officers arrived on scene to take Mike to the ER. The babysitter stayed with Adam and contacted Stephen and his mother, as they both worked in the same business. My husband contacted me to let me know that Mike was unresponsive and that he was taken to the hospital. My friends at work saw my response to the call and rushed me to the hospital. When we got there, I rushed in and asked where he was. The response was, "Oh, you are that baby's mother." That is horrible. They led me to the room where his body was. I walked in and saw he was blue. They apologized and said they did all they could. I picked him up and air escaped his body, and I got a rush of hope that he was alive, but the nurse explained that it was just air left in his lungs. I sat holding him and cried. My husband and his mother showed up within 10 minutes, and I thought my heart could not break, but it did. Watching my husband and his mother break down was another crack to my heart. My husband's uncle showed up a little while later, and he just cried and held his sister. After leaving the hospital to go to the babysitter's house to pick up Adam and the baby gear, the song "Dust in the Wind" played, which caused us both to cry. When we got to the sitter's house, we hugged her and let her know she was not to blame and that we knew she did everything possible. We made the calls to other family members to let them know. My sister Lou was getting married the weekend after Mike died, so she couldn't be at the funeral, but she rescheduled our mother's flight from where she lives to us. My father and little sister drove down from where they live to be here for us. They were a pain rather than any help. My little sister made comments about how she wouldn't be out of bed, unlike me, who was up taking care of a traumatized 18-month-old son and making arrangements to bury our second son. My father expected to be waited on hand and foot. My in-laws and the babysitter assisted us more than my family. On the way to the funeral, the song "Don't Fear the Reaper" came on, which felt like a message. 2 weeks after the funeral, the medical examiner called to tell us our baby died of SIDS, but otherwise, he was perfect. Weeks after the funeral, my little brother called me and apologized for not calling sooner, saying he just didn't know what to say. He said that I needed to understand he was going through a divorce. I am not proud of what I said next, but I do have to say anger is part of grief. I told him that I didn't need to understand about the divorce because we both knew his wife slept with his best friend the night before the wedding. This didn't measure up to holding your cold, deceased baby in your arms. I guess he called my little sister because she called me and yelled at me that if I keep acting like this, that I would lose my entire family. This statement is a hurt that I can't let go. Does this make me the asshole? A lot more happened during this time, but this was the biggest part. We have all tried to move on, to build relationships, but I never got an apology from my little sister, which is part of the reason I can't let the hurt go. We are moving out of the state our son is buried in, and it is breaking my heart. Oh, that was a hard one to read. Okay. You are not the asshole, OP. Absolutely not. You are completely right to feel hurt. Um, if you keep acting like this, that you would lose your entire family. What family? What family? Your dad and your little sister came. Your dad expected to be waited on hand and foot. Your little sister made hurtful comments. I don't know how old she is. I don't think you said how old she is, but she made hurtful comments. And then, is this the little sister that called you? Yeah, your brother called. You said something mean but true to your brother. He didn't like it, so he called your little sister and she yelled at you. Like, he's getting a divorce, she's entitled. You lost more than anyone should ever lose. The loss that you're feeling is not comparable to anything that they have ever experienced. The way that they're acting is so insensitive, so callous. You don't have a family with these people. From the way I see it, your family is your married family, your in-laws, and that babysitter. Like, those were your people who supported you, who cared about you, who allowed you the space to grieve, however that looked. You're not the asshole, and I don't think you're losing anything by losing that family. At all. Ooh, okay. Okay. Wow, I hope things go up from here. Story number 5 is coming to us from r/Dusty Thunder. AITA for not letting my husband eat a second slice of cake. Dusty Thunder is a new sub I found today, and we're giving it a try. Hey Dusty, I have a story for you that involves cakes, small businesses, and relationship advice, so I thought it would be right up your alley. This is not my real account, and I'd like to remain anonymous, so sorry if some of the details are too vague. I'll do my best to explain everything. A little background. I, 38 female, and my husband, 45 male, have been together for about a decade. When we met, we both had well-paying jobs in IT. He was happy in his job, but I wasn't. He inspired me to quit my job and start my own small business, still in IT. It has its ups and downs, but all in all, I like my small business. Once we got married and started having kids, we have 2 now, I couldn't focus as much on my business, so at the moment it is not making much money. He has always made enough money to support our family, even without me earning anything. Now, the cake part. I love baking, and people always tell me I make great desserts. Never had any professional training, apart from watching baking shows and tutorials on the internet. My friends always joke that I should open a bakery, and after years and years of listening to hubby and friends complaining that there are just no good cake bakers in the area we live in, apart from me, of course, I decided last year that I will open a second small business, baking cakes. I thought it could be a good source of income and would have a quicker turnaround than the IT business. I've been doing it for a year now. I bake custom orders as well as for the local farmers market, and I'm signed up for a delivery service like DoorDash, so people can order my pastries and cake slices for delivery in the area. I bake in my home kitchen. I have had it inspected and got all the paperwork done to be able to do it. It is exhausting, but I love doing it. Here's the issue. My husband loves my cakes. Whenever I am baking for the farmers market, I always set aside some bits for my husband and kids. And if I have some leftovers after the market, they always get to pick one slice. If there are leftovers that are still good for a few days, I sell them online at a discounted price. It is very important to me to get the word out about my business, as the market alone is not worth doing it in the long run. It would be much better for my business if people order from me directly, so I take every opportunity to try to reel in more people to try my cakes. But to do that, I need to actually have enough slices to offer. The other day, my husband was asking if he could have another slice of my cakes. I said no, because I wanted to sell it, and he'd already had his usual slice the day before. He said that he would pay me for it. I didn't accept it, as it just feels wrong to accept money from him. Besides, I would only make money on paper, since he is basically paying for everything in our household anyway. I'd like to mention here that it is a point of discontent to me that I don't earn enough. I know small businesses need some time to get off the ground, and we as a family are okay financially, but I do sometimes feel like I should just give up on these side projects and just get back into my old field of work, as at least that was making proper money. I feel heavily indebted to my husband because he, in the past few years, since we had kids, he's been basically funding my lifestyle. Not that it is glamorous or anything, but it lets me focus on on my now two small businesses. I use money from my own savings to start the cake business, so this is the one thing that I did without his financial help. But me going back to my old field would let us have a bit more leeway and would take some of the financial burden off my husband. He told me it's unfair to him that I bake all these delicious cakes and he can't have any, even if he pays. He also brought it up that some years ago I was trying to lose weight and cut back on sugary sweets, and asked him not to eat them in front of me, and he was understanding. So now he is in a similar situation and I should be understanding too. I don't see it as the same since this is my job and I'm not eating the cakes either. If he eats that slice of cake, though, it means there's going to be one less potential new customer for my business. I also told him if no one buys a slice of cake, he can have it for free. He said he wanted to have it for his lunch. It is unlikely that I will have any cake left after closing for the day, anyways. I do feel like an asshole, as this is just a slice of cake. But at the same time, I'm worried about how it can negatively affect my business. I ended up baking an entire 12-slice cake for my husband the next day, using ingredients from our regular groceries rather than the ones set aside for my business. I have no problem baking for him. I do all the cooking and baking at home anyways. It's just that those 2 to 3 days leading up to the farmer's market are very high pressure and exhausting. On the day of the market itself, I get up around 5 a.m. to bake pastries fresh. And with the deliveries, I am open until 10 p.m. So I usually don't feel like doing anything on the day after. Should I have let him have his second slice of cake? Was I the asshole? Edit to address a few things. It's a big edit. So before I read the edit, yes, you should have let him have the cake. I think you were wrong in this situation because it's one slice of cake. And like you're saying it like this one slice of cake could make or break your business. And in some instances that can be true, but are you underpricing yourself? Is that why this one piece of slice of cake makes such a big difference? Because if you're not underpricing it, giving the piece of cake to your husband is only at cost of the groceries that you used. And if you are charging appropriately, you should be making enough on all the other slices of the cake to, not only cover your cost and your labor, but also your supplies. So this one piece of cake shouldn't matter. If you think about it, sometimes, when you have a bakery, you might bake too much, someone might cancel an order, you will have wasted food. Is every one of those instances going to break the business? No, no. I think you were wrong. Regardless of who earns the money and who paid for what, he's your husband. He wanted one extra piece of cake. You had more cake. You can make more cake. And I think, the cake, the 12 slice cake that you made for him the next day doesn't take away the hurt that he asked you for a piece of something you made and you said no. That hurt him. So yeah, you're wrong. But let's read your edit. Edit to address a few things. Husband has a tendency to argue, I paid for it, so it's mine, when it comes to decisions where we disagree and he has run out of reasons. This is why I started my baking business using only my own money. I even told him that I am willing to calculate how much extra power, water, etc. I use and I will pay him for it. And it is making money. I have been paying for small things that I usually ask my husband to pay for. It's just a very, very small amount compared to the entire household's costs. I'm not neglecting my children because of this job. I am home, I am working from home, and I still do all of the house chores, and we split school pickups, bath time, bedtime, etc. based on who needs to work late. And I usually go back to baking after they've gone to sleep, if I have to. With respect, you guys don't know why the other business is not making money. It is not because I'm doing it wrong. It is in a development stage at the moment. It's normal. I don't do both jobs at the same time. I am either baking or working on the IT project. I have a schedule worked out that fits into someone else's at the market, so we basically split the weeks between ourselves with the other baker. That's not the problem. I am happy to bake him anything, any other time. Baking is exhausting because it is physically demanding, standing, running around the kitchen, sometimes literally for hours without sitting down. Second business or not, I would have to do this. I would have to do this to bake the cakes. It seems unfair to me to have to add to my usual workload just to keep him happy. On the friends and family and word of mouth aspect, we both live far away from our families and have the same group of friends. He's working remotely. Most of his colleagues don't even live in the same country as us, so that doesn't really apply here. It's not like there isn't anything else sweet he can eat, but he wants to have that specific cake. I know you guys argue that it is just one slice of cake and it sounds silly to be this upset about it, but a fuse ago, I had 4 slices left of one specific cake, and during lunch we ate one. Then someone wanted to order that 4 slices online, which I could not fulfill anymore. I called them and told them about the situation, offering them replacements for the 4 slice, but they ended up not ordering anything. So in the end, that 1 slice we had cost me 4 slices. Believe it or not, this kind of thing happens a lot when I am low on stock, and I don't have the right amount of the cake people want. They will just skip on ordering altogether. So however silly it seems, it does make a difference. If I had most of the cake left, yeah, sure, he could have had 2 slices. Okay, so this kind of seems like an issue with the way you set things up, because you say you ate one for lunch and then somebody online ordered 4. Once you decided to eat it, before you ate it, you should have gone to your website and reduced the available quantity. I feel like by not doing that before you ate the cake, you created the problem. Yeah, I mean, if you already have something listed online and you don't want to change it, okay, I think that's fair. But if you're saying that you know he likes this one specific cake, he doesn't want any other sweets, he wants this one specific cake, just make him the cake. Just make him the cake. Yes, it will take you more time. It will not cost you that much more in supplies. For you both to end up happy. He's happy he got the cake, and you're happy you don't have to worry about him eating any of your extras. They're not extras because you have them listed online for sale. I think the way you set it up with listing it and then eating it, you created the problem here. So I think there are ways that you can work this out for both of you to be happy and your business to still be successful. I think you're probably just both being stubborn at this point. All right, that is 5 stories for this week's episode of Was I in the Wrong? Thank you so much for being here, for listening to our stories. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you next time for another episode of the Missy Morrison podcast. Bye.